Hey guys, tonight we wander the foggy streets of Victorian London, where gas lamps flicker through the mist, and the air smells of coal smoke and damp wool. Picture yourself trudging alongside a postman, his red uniform crisp, a satchel stuffed with letters sealed by tiny, sticky squares. Stamps, the new obsession of 1840s Britain. You're diving into why these postmen were downright fanatical about those bits of paper, a tale so soothingly mundane it'll drift you off to dreamland. Fair warning. You probably won't survive the cozy monotony of this postal saga, as it's crafted to lull you into a deep, foggy sleep. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Oh, and drop a comment with your location and local time. I'm curious where you're nodding off from tonight. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're in London, 1840, where the cobblestones are slick with drizzle, and horse-drawn cabs clatter past. Your postman, a wiry fellow named Tom, adjusts his cap, his fingers brushing the stamps in his satchel like they're gold. These aren't just paper. They're the penny black, the world's first adhesive postage stamp, fresh off the press, with Queen Victoria's stern profile staring up. You follow Tom, his boots echoing, as he ducks through an alley, delivering letters to homes lit by candlelight. The air's thick, the fog curling like a cat around your ankles, and you feel the weight of each stamp, a tiny revolution in every envelope. The mainstream fact is that the penny black, introduced in May 1840, launched the world's first prepaid postage system, standardizing mail delivery across Britain, as documented in postal records and surviving stamps. The quirky tidbit? Some postmen swore the stamp's glue tasted faintly of molasses, a secret they'd never admit to licking. Gross, but you're tempted to sniff one, aren't you? You hold an imaginary stamp, its edges crisp, and smirk, keeping your tongue to yourself. Historians still argue whether the stamp's success was due to its affordability or its novelty. Did it thrive because it was cheap, or because everyone went nuts for the Queen's face? The fog around you offers no answer, just a damp hug. You think of those Polynesian star maps, guiding canoes across seas. Stamps are like that, tiny guides for letters crossing empires, though less starry, more sticky. A modern aside. If Tom had an Instagram, he'd post #StampLife selfies with stacks of penny blacks, racking up likes from every post office in London. You'd probably just spam emojis and get blocked. A light joke. Try delivering mail without a stamp, and you'd be chased by a mob of angry clerks. Zero chance of a tip there. Tom pauses at a post box, slipping letters through its slot, each stamp a promise of delivery. You notice his pride, the way he handles them, like a knight with a sacred relic. The street's quiet now, save for a distant dog's bark and the fog's soft hiss, and you feel a drowsy calm, the night pulling you deeper into its embrace. This isn't just mail, it's a system, a passion, a Victorian obsession that's only beginning. You take a deep breath, the misty air filling your lungs, and follow Tom's shadow, the stars above hidden by clouds, urging you deeper into London's postal haze. You trudge through the foggy London streets, Tom the postman's steady steps echoing ahead, the faint crinkle of stamps in his satchel a quiet rhythm in the Victorian night. The gas lamps cast pools of light, their glow swallowed by the mist, and the air smells of wet cobblestones and faint coal dust. You're no longer just trailing Tom, you're stepping into the heart of the penny post's dawn. witnessing the spark of Rowland Hill's postal reform that birthed the stamp obsession gripping every postman in 1840s Britain. The fog wraps you tighter, the night's hush lulling you, urging you to explore this bureaucratic revolution under the starless, misty sky. You follow Tom into a bustling post office, its wooden counters gleaming under flickering oil lamps. Clerks shuffle papers, their quills scratching, while Tom hands over his satchel for sorting. You spot a portrait of Rowland Hill, the reform's mastermind, hanging above the counter, his stern face watching like a headmaster. Hill's idea, prepaid postage via stamps, has turned chaos into order, making mail affordable for everyone, not just the rich. You lean against a counter, the wood's Polish cool, and feel the room's energy, a hive of postmen buzzing with pride over their new system. A modern aside. Forget your email's instant ping. Hill's reform was the original send it button. No Wi-Fi needed. You'd probably lick the wrong stamp and mail yourself to Scotland. Zero postal savvy for that blunder. The mainstream fact is that Rowland Hill's 1837 postal reform, implemented in 1840, introduced the uniform penny post, slashing costs and birthing the adhesive stamp, as detailed in parliamentary records and Hill's own writings. The quirky tidbit? Hill tested early stamps by mailing letters to himself, ensuring the glue held. Talk about a guy obsessed with his own homework. You imagine Hill licking a penny black, grinning, and smirk, though you're not about to taste the counter's dust for proof. Historians still argue whether Hill's reform was driven by egalitarianism or profit. Did he want to democratize mail, or just make the post office richer? The clerk's chatter offers no answer, just a busy hum. You watch Tom collect a fresh batch of letters, each stamped with Victoria's face, and notice his care, checking each one like a jeweler with gems. You think back to those Polynesian stick charts, guiding canoes with precision. Stamps are the postman's charts, steering letters through a sea of streets, like the coffee beans that spark Ethiopian rituals. A light joke. If you tried Hill's reform, you'd probably suggest carrier pigeons and get laughed out of Parliament. Zero innovator cred for that flop. The post office buzzes, clerks sorting with mechanical grace, and you feel the reform's weight, turning postmen into guardians of a new era. A young clerk, his ink-stained fingers trembling, drops a stamp, scrambling to retrieve it before Tom notices. You grin, sensing the reverence for these tiny squares, their glue and ink a symbol of progress. The room's warmth, the lamp's soft glow, pulls you deeper into drowsiness, the night's calm sinking in. A second light joke. Bet your mailroom doesn't treat stamps like holy relics, unless your office's got a secret Victorian altar. The fog outside presses against the windows, the stars hidden, but you imagine them winking, approving the postal revolution unfolding before you. You linger, the sorting's rhythm, thump of stamps, rustle of paper, a soothing cadence, like the ocean's sway in that Polynesian canoe. You picture Hill, somewhere out there, dreaming of a world connected by mail, his reform sparking the obsession you're witnessing. The post office feels alive, a heart pumping letters through London's veins, and you feel a drowsy awe. This isn't just bureaucracy, it's a quiet triumph, a system born from one man's vision. The night grows heavier, sleeps pull stronger, but you stay, caught by Tom's careful hands, the reform's steady pulse under the foggy sky. You step back, the post office's glow fading, and follow Tom into the mist. The reforms spark a soft hum in your mind. The lamp's light lingers, a bureaucratic beacon in your thoughts. The fog guides you forward, the stars unseen, and you drift deeper into London's hush, carrying the whisper of the penny post's dawn. You slip from the bustling post office, the clerk's rhythmic sorting and the glow of Rowland Hill's portrait fading into the foggy Victorian night, their revolutionary spark lingering like a warm ember in your mind. The gas lamps flicker, casting hazy pools of light on the slick cobblestones, where the air smells of damp wool and faint chimney smoke. You're trailing Tom the postman again, his red uniform a beacon through the mist, but now you're caught in the feverish excitement as postmen marvel at the adhesive marvels, the stamps, that have transformed their world in 1840s London. The fog curls around you, the night's hush lulling you, urging you to feel their obsession under the starless, misty sky. You follow Tom to a narrow street, where he pauses under a lamp to meet two fellow postmen, their satchels bulging with stamped letters. They huddle, pulling out penny blacks, their fingers tracing the Queen's profile with a reverence usually reserved for heirlooms. Tom holds one up, its black ink gleaming, and boasts about its perfect perforations, while the others nod, swapping tales of stamps they've delivered. You lean closer, the paper's crisp scent mixing with the fog's dampness, and feel their giddy pride, as if these stamps are tiny medals of their craft. A modern aside. Forget your collector's edition Funko Pops, these guys are geeking out over sticky paper, no Comic-Con needed. You'd probably smudge a stamp and get banished from the Postman's Club, zero collector cred for that fumble. The mainstream fact is that the introduction of adhesive stamps in 1840, starting with the penny black, revolutionized mail delivery, with over 68 million stamps printed in the first year alone, as recorded in British postal archives. The quirky tidbit? Some postmen kept lucky stamps, ones with printing errors like misaligned portraits, tucked in their pockets for good fortune. Think of it as a Victorian rabbit's foot, but stickier. You imagine Tom patting his pocket, grinning at a wonky Victoria, though you're not about to pickpocket him for proof. Historians still argue whether Postman's stamp obsession was about professional pride or personal fascination. Did they love the system, or just the stamps themselves? The gas lamp's flicker stays silent, just glowing. You watch the postmen, their breath visible in the chilly air, as one pulls out a tuppenny blue, its azure hue a rare gem. They gasp, debating its beauty, and you think back to the Polynesian wayfinder's star maps, guiding canoes with celestial precision. Stamps are these postmen's stars, guiding letters through London's maze, like coffee beans fueled Ethiopian rituals. A light joke. If you tried joining their stamp chat, you'd probably call the penny black cute, and get laughed into the Thames. Zero philatelist swagger for that gaffe. The postmen trade stamps like kids with marbles, their eyes bright despite the late hour. The fog thickens, muffling a distant carriage's clatter, and you notice Tom's satchel, its leather worn but packed with care, each stamp a promise of delivery. Another postman, younger, fumbles a stamp, catching it before it hits the ground, and you grin, sensing their almost comical devotion. A second light joke. Bet your mail carrier doesn't swoon over postage, unless your delivery guy's got a secret stamp shrine at home. The night feels heavier, the fog a soft blanket, and you imagine the stars hidden above, winking at the postman's fervor, their obsession a quiet fire in the mist. You linger, the postman's chatter, crinkle of stamps, soft boasts, a soothing rhythm, like the ocean's sway in that Pacific canoe. You picture thousands of postmen across Britain, each clutching their stamps, united by this sticky revolution. You feel a drowsy awe. This isn't just mail, it's a passion, a craft elevated by tiny squares of paper. The night grows still, sleeps pull stronger, but you stay, caught by Tom's careful fingers, the stamp's gleaming promise under the lamplight. You step back, the postman's glow fading, and follow Tom deeper into the fog, their fever a soft hum in your mind. The lamp's light lingers, a postal spark in your thoughts. The mist guides you forward, the stars unseen, and you drift deeper into London's hush, carrying the whisper of stamp fever's rise. You wander through the foggy London streets, the postman's excited chatter over penny blacks fading into the Victorian night, their stamp fever lingering like a warm buzz in your mind. The gas lamps flicker, their light swallowed by the mist, and the air smells of wet stone and faint tobacco from a passing gentleman's pipe. You're following Tom again, his red uniform a faint glow, but now you're plunging into the heart of a sorting room, a chaotic hive where postmen wrestle with stacks of stamped letters in 1840s Britain. The fog clings to you, the night's hush lulling you, urging you to navigate this bustling chaos under the starless, misty sky. You step into the sorting room, a cavernous space lit by sputtering oil lamps, their glow bouncing off wooden tables piled high with envelopes. Postmen in rolled-up shirt sleeves dart about, their hands a blur as they sort letters by stamp and destination. The air hums with the thump of rubber stamps, the rustle of paper, and shouted orders. Mind the tuppennies, as Tom weaves through, depositing his satchel's load. You settle on a stool, the wood creaking, and feel the room's pulse, a frantic ballet of ink and glue that somehow keeps Britain's mail moving. A modern aside. Forget your automated mail scanners, this is a human-powered email server, no coffee breaks allowed. You'd probably sneeze on a stack and start a postal plague, zero sorter skills for that disaster. The mainstream fact is that the 1840 postal reform led to a surge in mail volume, with sorting rooms processing millions of stamped letters annually, as documented in British post office records showing a tenfold increase in correspondence by 1845. The quirky tidbit? Some sorting rooms had stamp sniffers, postmen with keen noses who could spot counterfeit stamps by their off-brand glue. Think of it as a Victorian drug dog, but for postage. You sniff the air, catching ink and dust, but no rogue glue, thankfully. Historians still argue whether sorting rooms were efficient or chaotic. Did they streamline the system, or barely keep up with the stamp craze? The piles of letters around you offer no answer, just teetering. You watch Tom sort a stack, his fingers flicking through envelopes, checking each penny black's postmark with a hawk's eye. He mutters about a smudged stamp, tossing it into a problem pile, and you think back to the postman's street-side stamp worship. Their love for these sticky squares now tested by the room's relentless pace. It's like the Polynesian wayfinder's star maps, guiding canoes through chaos. Stamps guide letters through this postal storm. A light joke. If you tried sorting here, you'd probably mix up London and Liverpool and start a mail riot. Zero logistics cred for that mix-up. The room's chaos is oddly rhythmic. Thump, rustle, shout, and you notice a young postman, his face flushed, struggling to keep up, his stack wobbling like a drunk tower. An older sorter claps his shoulder, offering a quick tip, and you sense the camaraderie, a bond forged in the stamp-fueled frenzy. A second light joke. Bet your mailroom doesn't have this high-stakes vibe, unless your office's got a secret stamp sorting cage match. The fog presses against the windows, the stars hidden, but you imagine them twinkling, amused by the postman's hectic dance. You lean back, the stool's creak blending with the sorting's cadence, and let the room's energy wash over you, its chaos somehow soothing, like the ocean's sway in that Pacific canoe. You picture the letters, each stamped with Victoria's face, fanning out across Britain, carrying love notes, bills, and secrets. You feel a drowsy awe. This isn't just sorting, it's the heartbeat of a connected empire, powered by postmen and their sticky obsession. The night grows heavier, sleeps pull stronger, but you linger, caught by Tom's swift hands, the room's relentless hum under the foggy sky. You rise, the sorting room's glow fading, and follow Tom back into the mist, the chaos a soft hum in your mind. The lamp's light lingers, a postal spark in your thoughts. The fog guides you forward, the stars unseen, and you drift deeper into London's hush, carrying the whisper of the sorting room's frenzy. You slip from the chaotic sorting room, the relentless thump of stamps and the postman's frenzied sorting fading into the foggy Victorian night, their bustling energy lingering like a faint pulse in your mind. The gas lamps cast dim halos on the slick cobblestones, their light swallowed by the mist, where the air smells of damp wool and the distant tang of brewing tea from a nearby tenement. You're trailing Tom again, his red uniform barely visible through the fog, but now you're drawn to a quiet moment where postmen pause to admire the Queen's face, Victoria's stern portrait, stamped on every penny black and tuppenny blue in 1840s London. The night's hush wraps you, the fog lulling you, urging you to feel their reverence for these royal images under the starless, misty sky. You follow Tom to a small courtyard behind the post office, where he and a few postmen gather during a rare break, their breath visible in the chilly air. They huddle under a flickering lamp, pulling stamps from their satchels, holding them up to catch the light. Victoria's profile, young, regal, her hair in a tight bun, stares from each one, her gaze almost judgmental, as if daring them to misdeliver a letter. Tom traces a penny black's edges, his voice low with awe, while another postman, a grizzled veteran, boasts about a pristine tuppenny blue, its blue ink vivid even in the dim glow. You settle on a stone bench, its cold surface grounding you, and feel their quiet devotion, as if these stamps are tiny shrines to their queen. A modern aside. Forget your celebrity trading cards, these guys are fangirling over royal headshots, no autograph needed. You'd probably crease a stamp and get exiled to the mailroom basement, zero collector finesse for that fumble. The mainstream fact is that the penny black and tuppenny blue, introduced in 1840, featured Queen Victoria's portrait, designed by William Wyon based on her 1837 coronation medal, making her the first monarch on a postage stamp, as documented in British postal archives. The quirky tidbit? Some postmen believed Victoria's image brought luck to deliveries, especially if the stamp was perfectly centered. Think of it as a royal four-leaf clover stuck to an envelope. You squint at Tom's stamp, checking its alignment, but it's too foggy to tell, and you're not about to ask for a magnifying glass. Historians still argue whether the Queen's portrait was a propaganda tool or a practical design choice. Did it boost loyalty to the crown, or was it just an easy face to print? The lamp's flicker offers no answer, just a soft glow. You watch the postman pass a tuppenny blue, their fingers careful, as if handling a relic. One jokes about Victoria watching them work, and you grin, picturing her ghostly frown over a late delivery. You think back to the sorting room's chaos, the postman's stamp fever. These royal images fueled that passion, like Polynesian star maps carried sacred weight for wayfinders or coffee beans bound Ethiopian rituals. A light joke. If you tried admiring a stamp, you'd probably say Victoria looks stern but stylish, and get laughed into the gutter. Zero art critic cred for that take. The fog thickens, muffling a distant church bell, and you notice Tom's satchel. Its leather worn but packed with care, each stamp a tiny Victoria guarding the mail. A younger postman, his cap askew, holds a penny black to his ear, whispering, "God save the Queen," and you stifle a chuckle, sensing their almost comical loyalty. A second light joke. Bet your mail carrier doesn't pray to postage, unless your delivery app's got a secret royal altar. The night feels heavier, the fog a damp blanket, and you imagine the stars hidden above, winking at the postman's royal obsession, their devotion a quiet flame in the mist. You lean back, the bench's chill seeping into you, and let the postman's murmurs, the crinkle of stamps, soft praises, a soothing rhythm, like the sea's sway in that Pacific canoe. You picture Victoria's face on millions of letters, her gaze uniting postmen across Britain in a shared mission. You feel a drowsy awe. This isn't just delivery, it's a love letter to their queen, sealed with every stamp. The night grows still, sleeps pull stronger, but you linger, caught by Tom's reverent hands, the stamp's royal glow under the lamplight. You rise, the courtyard's glow fading, and follow Tom back into the fog, the Queen's face a soft hum in your mind. The lamp's light lingers, a regal spark in your thoughts. The mist guides you forward, the stars unseen, and you drift deeper into London's hush, carrying the whisper of Victoria's stamped reign. You drift from the misty courtyard, the postman's reverent murmurs over Queen Victoria's stamped portrait fading into the foggy Victorian night, their royal devotion lingering like a soft echo in your mind. The gas lamps flicker, their dim light barely piercing the thick mist, where the air smells of damp coal dust and the faint sweetness of spilled ale from a nearby pub. You're trailing Tom again, his red uniform a faint beacon, but now you're immersed in the growing pride of postmen, their meticulous care for stamp precision defining their craft in 1840s London. The fog wraps you tighter, the night's hush lulling you, urging you to feel their dedication under the starless, misty sky. You follow Tom down a narrow alley, his boots splashing through puddles, as he heads toward a delivery route. He pauses to check his satchel, pulling out a stack of letters, each penny black and tuppenny blue aligned with obsessive neatness. His fingers trace the stamp's edges, ensuring no creases or smudges mar their perfection, his face set with a pride that borders on sacred. You settle on a low wall, its cold stone grounding you, and watch him sort the letters by address, his movements precise, like a jeweler polishing gems. The air's heavy, the fog muffling a distant cart's rumble, and you feel the weight of his duty, each stamp a testament to his role in this postal revolution. A modern aside. Forget your delivery app's tracking number, Tom's got stamp precision down to an art, no barcode scanner needed. You'd probably stick a stamp upside down and spark a postal scandal, zero delivery finesse for that blunder. The mainstream fact is that Victorian postmen were trained to handle stamps with extreme care, as their proper application ensured efficient sorting and delivery, with 1840s post office manuals outlining strict protocols for stamp placement and cancellation. The quirky tidbit? Some postmen carried tiny brushes to clean stamps of dust before delivery, believing a pristine stamp honored the Queen. Think of it as Victorian stamp spa treatment, no appointment needed. You imagine Tom with a miniature brush, fussing over a penny black, and smirk, though you're not about to check his pockets for one. Historians still argue whether this precision was about professionalism or obsession. Did postmen perfect their craft for efficiency, or were they just stamp fanatics? The alley's fog offers no answer, just a damp veil. You watch Tom adjust a letter, ensuring its stamp's postmark is crisp, his eyes narrowing as he spots a faint smudge. He mutters, tucking it aside for inspection, and you think back to the sorting room's chaos, where precision was a lifeline amid the frenzy, or the Polynesian wayfinder's star maps, guiding canoes with exactness. Stamps are Tom's stars, each one a marker in the postal cosmos, like coffee beans bound Ethiopian rituals. A light joke. If you tried this precision, you'd probably glue a stamp to your forehead and call it fashion. Zero postman cred for that look. The fog swirls, a passing lamplighter's pole clinking faintly, and you notice another postman joining Tom, comparing their stacks with a competitive glint. They swap tips on aligning stamps perfectly, their voices low but proud, and you sense the camaraderie, a brotherhood forged in ink and glue. A second light joke. Bet your mail carrier doesn't polish stamps like heirlooms, unless your delivery van's got a secret stamp shining kit. The night feels heavier, the fog a soft cocoon, and you imagine the stars hidden above, nodding at the postman's meticulous craft, their pride a quiet flame in the mist. You lean back, the walls chill seeping into you, and let the postman's rhythm, the crinkle of letters, soft murmurs, a soothing cadence, like the sea's sway in that Pacific canoe. You picture postmen across London, each guarding their stamps with the same fierce care, united in a mission to deliver perfectly. You feel a drowsy awe. This isn't just mail, it's a craft, a devotion etched in every sticky square. The night grows still, sleeps pull stronger, but you linger, caught by Tom's careful hands, the stamp's pristine promise under the foggy lamplight. You rise, the alley's glow fading, and follow Tom deeper into the mist, their pride a soft hum in your mind. The lamp's light lingers, a precise spark in your thoughts. The fog guides you forward, the stars unseen, and you drift deeper into London's hush, carrying the whisper of postmen's stamp precision. You wander through the foggy London alley, Tom's meticulous stamp sorting and the postman's quiet pride fading into the Victorian night, their devotion to precision lingering like a soft imprint in your mind. The gas lamps cast wavering shadows on the slick cobblestones, their light dimmed by the mist, where the air smells of damp brick and the faint musk of spilled porter from a nearby tavern. You're still trailing Tom, his red uniform a ghostly beacon, but now you're slipping into a hidden world where postmen turn collectors, secretly hoarding rare stamp errors with a quiet obsession in 1840s Britain. The fog curls tighter, the night's hush lulling you, urging you to uncover their covert passion under the starless, misty sky. You follow Tom to a dimly lit pub, its windows glowing faintly, the muffled hum of laughter spilling out. He ducks inside, and you slip in after, settling on a worn bench in a shadowy corner. The pub's warm, reeking of ale and pipe smoke, its wooden tables scratched with initials. Tom joins a small group of postmen, their uniforms loosened, their faces flushed as they huddle over a cloth bundle. One, a wiry man named Alf, carefully unwraps it, revealing a stash of stamps, penny blacks and tuppenny blues, but flawed. Misprinted colors, off-center portraits, or smudged ink. They lean in, whispering like conspirators, their eyes gleaming with the thrill of their secret hoard. You lean closer, the table's sticky surface grounding you, and feel their obsession, these errors more precious than gold. A modern aside. Forget your rare Pokemon card obsession, these guys are trading stamp bloopers, no eBay bidding war needed. You'd probably swap a misprint for a pint and regret it forever. Zero collector savvy for that trade. The mainstream fact is that stamp collecting, or philately, began almost immediately after the penny black's 1840 debut, with Postmen among the earliest collectors, as noted in Victorian journals and surviving stamp albums from the 1840s. The quirky tidbit? Some postmen believed error stamps held postal magic, bringing luck or even promotions if kept hidden. Think of it as a Victorian lucky penny, but stickier and with Victoria's face. UI Alf's bundle, half expecting a stamp to glow, but they're just paper, creased and cherished. Historians still argue whether postmen collected for personal passion or profit. Did they love the stamps, or see them as future investments? The pub's smoky haze offers no answer, just a warm blur. You watch Alf pass a stamp with a double-printed queen, the postman gasping, their fingers itching to touch it. Tom trades a smudged tuppenny blue for a penny black with a torn corner, his grin fierce, and you think back to their street-side stamp worship, now deepened by this secret hunt for flaws, like Polynesian wayfinders chasing lost star maps or Ethiopian coffee brewers perfecting their craft. A light joke: if you tried collecting stamps, you'd probably glue them to your fridge and call it decor. Zero philatelist cred for that display. The postman's whispers grow hushed, guarding their hoard from prying eyes, even in this friendly pub. The fire crackles, casting shadows on the pub's low ceiling, and you notice a younger postman, his cap pushed back, sketching a stamp's error on a scrap of paper, maybe to brag later. The group's secrecy is palpable, their obsession a private rebellion against the sorting room's chaos you saw earlier. A second light joke: bet your hobby doesn't involve smuggling stamp errors. Unless your stamp club's got a secret Victorian speakeasy vibe. The fog presses against the windows, the stars hidden, but you imagine them winking, amused by the postman's covert passion, their hoards a quiet spark in the night. You lean back, the benches creak blending with the pub's hum, clinking glasses, soft boasts, a soothing rhythm, like the sea's sway in that Pacific canoe. You picture postmen across London, tucking error stamps into hidden pockets, united by this silent thrill. You feel a drowsy awe. This isn't just collecting, it's a love affair with imperfection, a rebellion in ink and glue. The night grows heavier, sleeps pull stronger, but you linger, caught by Alf's careful hands, the stamp's flawed beauty under the pub's dim glow. You rise, the pub's warmth fading, and follow Tom back into the fog, the collector's obsession a soft hum in your mind. The fire's light lingers, a secretive spark in your thoughts. The mist guides you forward, the stars unseen, and you drift deeper into London's hush, carrying the whisper of postmen's hidden hoards. You slip from the smoky pub, the postman's secretive stamp hoarding and the flicker of their misprinted treasures fading into the foggy Victorian night, their quiet obsession lingering like a faint ink stain in your mind. The gas lamps cast trembling shadows on the wet cobblestones, their light dimmed by the mist, where the air smells of damp straw and the distant whiff of horse manure from a passing cab. You're trailing Tom again, his red uniform barely visible, but now you're trudging alongside him on a rural delivery route, where the challenges of carrying stamped letters through muddy lanes test the postman's devotion in 1840s Britain. The fog thins slightly, the night's hush lulling you, urging you to trek through this pastoral struggle under the faint, star-pricked sky. You follow Tom out of London's sprawl, the city's clamor giving way to the crunch of gravel underfoot and the low moo of a cow in a nearby field. He's swapped his satchel for a heavier leather bag, stuffed with letters bearing penny blacks and tuppenny blues, their adhesive squares a promise to reach even these remote hamlets. The path is muddy, sucking at his boots, and you wince, your imaginary shoes sinking too. A lantern swings from Tom's hand, its light bobbing, revealing ruts and puddles that threaten to ruin his precious cargo. You settle on a fallen log, its moss damp but steady, and watch him navigate, his face set with grim determination, each stamp a beacon of duty. A modern aside. Forget your drone delivery dreams. Tom's battling mud for the Queen's mail, no GPS to save him. You'd probably slip in a puddle and send the letters flying, zero rural postman skills for that splash. The mainstream fact is that the 1840 postal reform extended delivery to rural areas, with postmen covering vast distances on foot or horseback, as documented in post office records showing expanded routes by 1845. The quirky tidbit? Some rural postmen tied stamps to their hats during storms, believing Victoria's face would ward off rain. Think of it as a royal umbrella, but stickier. You glance at Tom's cap, half expecting a penny black, but it's just wool, sodden from the mist. Historians still argue whether rural delivery was a triumph of reform or a logistical nightmare. Did it connect the countryside, or stretch postmen to breaking? The muddy path offers no answer, just a squelch. You watch Tom ford a shallow stream, his lantern swaying as he lifts his bag high, protecting the stamps from water. His curses are soft, but you grin, sensing his loyalty to those tiny squares, a far cry from the pub's cozy stamp worship or the sorting room's chaos you saw earlier. It's like the Polynesian wayfinders battling trade winds, their star maps guiding through storms. Stamps are Tom's maps, leading letters to cottages beyond the fog. A light joke. If you tried this route, you'd probably mail a letter to a cow and call it progress. Zero delivery cred for that moo steak. The night grows colder, a distant owl hooting, and you notice a farmer waving Tom over, eager for his mail. Tom hands over a letter, its stamp pristine despite the mud, and the farmer's smile mirrors Tom's pride. Their brief chat, warmed by shared duty, feels like the crew's camaraderie on that Pacific canoe. A second light joke. Bet your mail carrier doesn't wrestle mud for your Amazon package, unless your delivery guy's got a secret Victorian grit. The stars, faintly visible now, seem to nod, their light softer, as if cheering Tom's stubborn trek. You shift on the log, the damp moss chilling you, and let the roots rhythm, Tom's boots, the lantern's creak, the rustle of letters, soothe you, like the sea's sway in that distant voyage. You picture rural postmen across Britain, braving rain and ruts, their stamps a fragile link to the world. You feel a drowsy awe. This isn't just delivery, it's a mission, a testament to grit and glue. The night grows heavier, sleeps pull stronger, but you linger, caught by Tom's steady pace, the stamp's quiet promise under the faint starlight. You rise, brushing moss from your hands, and follow Tom deeper into the countryside, the path's glow fading. The rural struggle lingers, a muddy spark in your mind. The mist guides you forward, the stars dim, and you drift deeper into Britain's hush, carrying the whisper of rural roots' challenges. You trudge through the muddy rural lanes, Tom's determined steps and the faint glow of his lantern fading into the foggy Victorian night, the grit of his rural delivery lingering like a damp imprint in your mind. The stars peek faintly through thinning mist, their light barely touching the winding path, where the air smells of wet grass and the distant tang of wood smoke from a cottage chimney. You're still trailing Tom, his red uniform now crisp as he returns to London's edge, but now you're caught in the moment where postmen strut with pride, their polished uniforms shining as emblems of their stamp-driven duties in 1840s Britain. The night's hush wraps you, the cool air lulling you, urging you to admire their sartorial swagger under the faint, starlit sky. You follow Tom to a post office courtyard, where postmen gather before their shifts, their red coats and blue trousers gleaming under gas lamps. They adjust their caps, polish brass buttons, and check their satchels, each stuffed with stamped letters, penny blacks and tuppenny blues, Victoria's face their badge of honor. Tom straightens his collar, his chest puffed out, and you catch him exchanging nods with a fellow postman, their uniforms a silent boast of their role in the postal empire. You settle on a wooden bench, its surface worn but dry, and feel the courtyard's energy, a parade of pride where every stitch and stamp matters. A modern aside. Forget your delivery guy's faded polo, these postmen are rocking royal couture, no logo needed. You'd probably button your uniform wrong and look like a postal pirate, zero fashion cred for that mess. The mainstream fact is that Victorian postmen wore standardized uniforms from the 1840s, with red coats and blue trousers introduced to signify their official role, as detailed in post office records and surviving garments in museums. The quirky tidbit? Some postmen sewed extra pockets inside their coats to stash lucky stamps, believing they'd speed deliveries. Think of it as a Victorian fanny pack with regal vibes. You eye Tom's coat, wondering if a penny black's tucked away, but it's just wool, pristine and proud. Historians still argue whether uniforms boosted morale or enforced discipline. Did they make postmen feel proud, or just keep them in line? The courtyard's lamplight offers no answer, just a warm glow. You watch a younger postman, his cap slightly askew, polish his buttons with a cloth, mimicking Tom's meticulous care. The group swaps stories of deliveries, their voices low but smug, each stamp in their satchels a point of pride, echoing the rural route's muddy triumphs or the pub's secret stamp hoards you glimpsed. It's like the Polynesian wayfinder's star tattoos, symbols of their craft's honor, or Ethiopian brewers' pride in their coffee. A light joke. If you wore this uniform, you'd probably trip on the coat and deliver mail to a lamppost. Zero postman swagger for that stumble. The fog lingers at the courtyard's edges, a distant dog barking, and you notice a senior postman inspecting the group, his nod approving their polished look. Tom adjusts his satchel, ensuring no letter peeks out, his uniform a mirror of his stamp precision you saw earlier. The postmen stand taller, their buttons glinting, and you sense their unity, a brotherhood bound by cloth and duty. A second light joke. Bet your mail carrier's hoodie doesn't scream royal service, unless your delivery app's got a secret Victorian dress code. The stars above, barely visible, seem to wink, their light softer, as if saluting the postman's shine. You lean back, the benches creak blending with the courtyard's hum, soft chatter, the clink of buttons, the rustle of satchels, a soothing rhythm, like the sea's sway in that Pacific canoe. You picture postmen across Britain, their uniforms a red thread linking city to countryside, each stamp a star in their daily mission. You feel a drowsy awe. This isn't just clothing, it's a mantle, a symbol of devotion to the postal craft. The night grows heavier, sleeps pull stronger, but you linger, caught by Tom's proud stance, the uniform's gleaming promise under the lamplight. You rise, brushing imaginary dust from your hands, and follow Tom back into the fog, the uniform's pride a soft hum in your mind. The courtyard's glow lingers, a sartorial spark in your thoughts. The mist guides you forward, the stars dim, and you drift deeper into Britain's hush, carrying the whisper of postal uniforms' shine. You drift from the glowing courtyard, the postmen's polished uniforms and their proud struts fading into the foggy Victorian night, their sartorial swagger lingering like a crisp echo in your mind. The gas lamps flicker, their light barely cutting through the thickening mist, where the air smells of damp coal and the faint sweetness of spilled gin from a nearby alley. You're still trailing Tom, his red coat a dim beacon, but now you're swept into the public stamp craze, joining crowds in 1840s London as they clamor for new stamp designs, their excitement spilling onto the streets. The fog wraps you tighter, the night's hush lulling you, urging you to dive into this postal frenzy under the starless, misty sky. You follow Tom to a bustling square near the General Post Office, where a crowd gathers, their umbrellas bobbing like mushrooms in the drizzle. Vendors hawk fresh sheets of penny blacks and tuppenny blues, their shouts mixing with the clatter of horse carts and the chatter of eager buyers, shopkeepers, clerks, even children clutching pennies. A new stamp design, rumored to feature a bolder Victoria, has sparked a fever, and you spot people waving coins, desperate for a sheet. Tom pauses, his satchel heavy with stamped letters, smirking at the chaos as he weaves through. You settle on a stone step, its chill grounding you, and feel the square's pulse, a stamp-mad carnival where every sticky square is a prize. A modern aside. Forget your Black Friday stampede for gadgets, these folks are rioting for royal stickers, no discount code needed. You'd probably buy a fake stamp and cry over your pennies, zero bargain hunter skills for that scam. The mainstream fact is that the introduction of postage stamps in 1840 triggered a public craze in Britain, with millions of stamps sold within months, as recorded in post office sales logs and contemporary newspapers reporting on stamp mania. The quirky tidbit? Some Londoners framed their first penny blacks like art, hanging them in parlors to show off their modernity. Think of it as Victorian Instagram flexing, but with glue. You imagine a framed stamp above a fireplace, Victoria glaring at dusty curtains, and grin, though you're not about to check the crowd for mini frames. Historians still argue whether this craze was about practicality or prestige. Did people love stamps for cheap mail, or for the status of owning them? The square's din offers no answer, just a vibrant hum. You watch a vendor, his apron ink-stained, unroll a sheet of tuppenny blues, the crowd surging as he touts their royal clarity. A woman in a bonnet snatches one, clutching it like a lottery ticket, and you think back to the postmen's pub hoards, their secret error stamps. Here, the public's just as obsessed, but louder, like Polynesian clans racing for new islands or Ethiopian coffee sparking market buzz. A light joke. If you joined this craze, you'd probably bid a shilling for a smudged stamp and call it vintage, zero collector cred for that overpay. The fog swirls, a street fiddler's tune cutting through, and you notice Tom chatting with a buyer, explaining the new design's rumored details, a sharper crown, maybe. The buyer, a spectacled clerk, nods eagerly, and you sense the shared excitement, postmen and public united in stamp fever. A second light joke. Bet your online shopping cart doesn't spark this kind of riot. unless your post office's got a secret stamp flash sale. The night feels heavier, the fog a damp curtain, and you imagine the stars hidden above, twinkling at the crowd's fervor, their craze a loud spark in the mist. You lean back, the steps chill seeping into you, and let the square's rhythm, vendors' shouts, coins clinking, paper rustling, soothe you, like the sea's sway in that Pacific canoe. You picture stamp mania sweeping Britain, from London squares to rural hamlets, each design a tiny revolution in ink. You feel a drowsy awe. This isn't just buying, it's a cultural wave, a love for stamps binding strangers. The night grows still, sleeps pull stronger, but you linger, caught by the crowd's eager hands, the stamp's vibrant promise under the gaslight. You rise, brushing dampness from your hands, and follow Tom deeper into the fog, the public's craze a soft hum in your mind. The square's glow lingers, a frenzied spark in your thoughts. The mist guides you forward, the stars unseen, and you drift deeper into London's hush, carrying the whisper of the stamp craze's peak. You wander from the bustling square, the public's frenzied clamor for new stamp designs and the vendors' shouts fading into the foggy Victorian night, their stamp mania lingering like a vibrant hum in your mind. The gas lamps cast wavering glows on the slick cobblestones, their light dimmed by the thickening mist, where the air smells of damp wool and the faint tang of ink from a nearby printer's shop. You're trailing Tom again, his red uniform a faint guide, but now you're slipping into the hidden world of stamp production, exploring the meticulous craft of ink and glue that fuels the postman's obsession in 1840s London. The fog curls around you, the night's hush lulling you, urging you to uncover the artistry behind these sticky squares under the starless, misty sky. You follow Tom to a narrow street, where he ducks into a printer's workshop, its windows glowing with candlelight. Inside, the air is warm, thick with the scent of fresh ink and molten wax, the rhythmic clank of presses filling the space. Artisans in smudged aprons hunch over tables, their hands steady as they engrave plates, mix inks, and test adhesive gum. You settle on a wooden stool, its surface worn but steady, and watch a printer, his fingers blackened, carefully align a penny black sheet, ensuring Victoria's portrait is flawless. The room's alive, a hive of precision where every stamp is born, and you feel the craft's weight, each square a tiny masterpiece. A modern aside. Forget your mass-produced stickers, these stamps are artisanal gems, no assembly line needed. You'd probably spill the ink and turn the workshop into a modern art exhibit, zero printer cred for that mess. The mainstream fact is that Victorian stamps, like the penny black, were produced by Perkins, Bacon and Company using steel engraving and gum Arabic adhesive, with 1840s printing records detailing the labor-intensive process that ensured high-quality output. The quirky tidbit? Printers sometimes sang sea shanties to keep rhythm while working presses, believing it calmed the ink. Think of it as a Victorian playlist for stamp making, no Spotify required. You listen for a tune, catching a faint hum from an artisan, though it's more mumble than melody. Historians still argue whether stamp production was a technological marvel or a grueling craft. Did it streamline mail, or exhaust its makers? The press's clank offers no answer, just a steady beat. You watch the printer dab a cloth in ink, testing its shade against a candle's glow, his eyes narrowing for perfection. Another artisan applies gum to a sheet, brushing it with care, and you think back to the postman's pride in stamp precision, their love for these creations born here. like Polynesian canoe builders shaping vessels for starlit journeys or Ethiopian brewers crafting sacred coffee. A light joke: if you tried printing stamps, you'd probably engrave a cartoon Victoria and spark a royal scandal. Zero artisan skills for that doodle. The workshop hums, candles flickering, and you sense the artisan's quiet devotion, their craft the backbone of the postal craze. A young apprentice, his apron too big, fumbles a plate, earning a gentle scold from the printer, and you grin, feeling the room's camaraderie, a shared mission to craft perfection. The finished stamps, stacked neatly, gleam with Victoria's face, ready for Tom's satchel and the public's frenzy you saw in the square. A second light joke: bet your office printer doesn't churn out royal portraits, unless your copier's got a secret Victorian side hustle. The fog presses against the windows, the stars hidden, but you imagine them twinkling, approving the artisan's meticulous work, their stamps a quiet spark in the night. You lean back, the stool's creak blending with the press's rhythm, clank asterisk, rustle, soft murmurs, a soothing cadence, like the sea's sway in that Pacific canoe. You picture stamps rolling off these presses, flooding London, binding postmen and public in a shared obsession. You feel a drowsy awe: this isn't just printing, it's alchemy, turning ink and glue into a postal revolution. The night grows heavier, sleeps pull stronger, but you linger, caught by the printer's steady hands, the stamp's inky promise under the candlelight. You rise, the workshop's glow fading, and follow Tom back into the fog, the craft a soft hum in your mind. The candle's light lingers, an artisanal spark in your thoughts. The mist guides you forward, the stars unseen, and you drift deeper into London's hush, carrying the whisper of stamp production's art. You slip from the ink-scented workshop, the rhythmic clank of stamp presses and the artisan's meticulous craft fading into the foggy Victorian night, their artistry lingering like a faint whiff of gum arabic in your mind. The gas lamps cast trembling glows on the wet cobblestones, their light dimmed by the swirling mist, where the air smells of damp soot and the distant tang of roasted chestnuts from a street vendor's cart. You're trailing Tom again, his red uniform a ghostly guide, but now you're stepping into a cozy pub where postmen forge social bonds, sharing tales over pints and stamp talk in 1840s London. The fog presses closer, the night's hush lulling you, urging you to join their camaraderie under the starless, misty sky. You follow Tom into the pub, its low ceiling blackened by smoke, the air thick with the scent of ale, pipe tobacco, and warm bread. Postmen crowd around scarred wooden tables, their red coats unbuttoned, their laughter rising over the clink of glasses. Tom slides onto a bench, greeted with slaps on the back, and you settle in a shadowy corner, the bench's creak blending with the pub's warm hum. They swap stories of deliveries, muddy routes, cranky customers, and pass around a penny black, debating its postmark's clarity like art critics. You lean closer, the table's sticky surface grounding you, and feel the pub's pulse, a haven where stamps spark friendship as much as duty. A modern aside: forget your office happy hour with watered-down cocktails. These guys bond over royal stickers and stout, no icebreaker games needed. You'd probably spill your ale and ruin a stamp, zero pub buddy cred for that fumble. The mainstream fact is that Victorian postmen formed tight-knit communities, often socializing in pubs after shifts, as noted in 1840s diaries and post office records describing their role as social hubs for postal workers. The quirky tidbit? Some postmen carved stamp designs into pub tables, leaving tiny Victorias as calling cards, For future visits, think of it as Victorian graffiti with a royal twist. You glance at the table, half expecting a carved penny black, but see only knife scratches and ale stains. Historians still argue whether these pub gatherings strengthened work morale or distracted from duties. Did they build team spirit, or just fuel stamp gossip? The fire's crackle offers no answer, just a cozy glow. You watch Tom recount a tale of delivering a love letter with a perfect tuppenny blue, his mates cheering as he mimics the recipient's swoon. Another postman, Alf from the stamp hoarding night, counters with a story of a misprinted stamp that caused a sorting room uproar, and you grin, thinking back to their secret pub hoards, now shared openly in this warm circle. It's like the Polynesian crew's starry bonds on that Pacific canoe, or Ethiopian coffee feasts uniting villages. Stamps are the glue here, sparking tales and trust. A light joke. If you joined their chat, you'd probably brag about mailing a postcard and get laughed into the street. Zero storyteller cred for that yawn. The pub's lively, a fiddler striking up a tune in the corner, and you notice a young postman passing a stamp to Tom, a gift for his tale, their bond sealed in ink. They toast to Her Majesty's mail, their glasses clinking, and you feel the camaraderie's warmth, a brotherhood forged in fog and postage, echoing the pride of their uniforms you saw earlier. A second light joke. Bet your team's group chat doesn't bond over postage, unless your Slack's got a secret Victorian stamp emoji. The fog presses against the windows, the stars hidden, but you imagine them twinkling, cheering the postman's pub-born unity. You lean back, the bench's warmth seeping into you, and let the pub's rhythm, laughter, clinking glasses, stamp talk, soothe you, like the sea's sway in that distant voyage. You picture postmen across London, their pubs alive with the same tales, stamps knitting them together in a postal family. You feel a drowsy awe. This isn't just drinking, it's a ritual, a celebration of their craft's heart. The night grows heavier, sleeps pull stronger, but you linger, caught by Tom's hearty laugh, the stamp's shared spark under the firelight. You rise, the pub's glow fading, and follow Tom back into the fog, the camaraderie a soft hum in your mind. The fire's light lingers, a social spark in your thoughts. The mist guides you forward, the stars unseen, and you drift deeper into London's hush, carrying the whisper of postmen's pub bonds. You drift from the warm pub, the postman's hearty laughter and stamp-fueled tales fading into the foggy Victorian night, their camaraderie lingering like a cozy glow in your mind. The gas lamps flicker, their dim light struggling through the thick mist, where the air smells of damp coal and the faint bitterness of spilled porter from a tipped barrel. You're trailing Tom again, his red uniform a shadowy guide, but now you're tracing the dreams of overseas mail, following stamps that carry letters across the British Empire's vast seas in 1840s London. The fog wraps you tighter, the night's hush lulling you, urging you to chase these global journeys under the starless, misty sky. You follow Tom to a bustling dockside post office, its wooden walls creaking under the weight of sacks stuffed with stamped letters. The air is sharp with salt and tar, the distant creak of ships' rigging mixing with the shouts of dockworkers. Tom hands his satchel to a clerk, who sorts letters bound for India, Australia, even the Americas, each penny black and tuppenny blue a tiny passport for a sea voyage. You settle on a crate, its splintered edge grounding you, and watch the clerk stack envelopes, their stamps gleaming under a swaying oil lamp, each one a promise to cross oceans. A modern aside. Forget your airmail's tracking code, these stamps are sailing the 7 seas. No flight number needed. You'd probably mail a letter to China and send it to Cornwall. Zero global postal skills for that mix-up. The mainstream fact is that the 1840 postal reform enabled affordable international mail, with stamps facilitating prepaid postage across the British Empire, as documented in post office records showing a surge in overseas correspondence by 1845. The quirky tidbit? Some postmen whispered that stamps carried empire luck, ensuring safe passage for ships if enough were used. Think of it as a royal charm for stormy seas. You eye a stack of letters, half expecting them to glow, but they're just paper, ink, and hopeful. Historians still argue whether overseas mail strengthened imperial ties or was just a business boom. Did stamps unite the empire, or mostly line its pockets? The dock's clamor offers no answer, just a restless hum. You watch the clerk tie a sack, its stamps destined for a ship moored nearby, its sails furled like sleeping wings. Tom lingers, chatting with a sailor about a letter to Bombay, his voice tinged with awe, as if the stamp itself could sail. You think back to the pub's stamp talk, the rural route's muddy treks. These overseas dreams elevate that passion, like Polynesian wayfinders dreaming of new islands or Ethiopian coffee crossing deserts. A light joke: if you tried mailing overseas, you'd probably stick a stamp on a seagull and call it express. Zero maritime cred for that bird-brained plan. The fog rolls in from the Thames, a ship's horn moaning, and you notice a postman sketching a stamp's design on a crate, maybe imagining it reaching Cape Town. The dockside post office feels alive, a gateway where stamps launch letters into the world, binding London to far-flung colonies. A second light joke: bet your international shipping doesn't spark this kind of wanderlust, unless your courier's got a secret Victorian sailing fetish. The night feels heavier, the fog a damp veil, and you imagine the stars hidden above, guiding those stamped letters across seas, their journeys a quiet spark in the mist. You lean back, the crate's roughness biting into you, and let the dock's rhythm, clerk's asterisk thump asterisk, sacks rustle, sailors' shouts, soothe you, like the sea's sway in that Pacific canoe. You picture letters sailing to Calcutta, Sydney, Montreal, each stamp a thread in the empire's web, carried by postmen's dreams. You feel a drowsy awe. This isn't just mail, it's a global lifeline, a vision of connection born in ink and glue. The night grows still, sleeps pull stronger, but you linger, caught by Tom's wistful gaze, the stamp's far-reaching promise under the lamplight. You rise, brushing splinters from your hands, and follow Tom back into the fog, the overseas dreams a soft hum in your mind. The dock's glow lingers, a global spark in your thoughts. The mist guides you forward, the stars unseen, and you drift deeper into London's hush, carrying the whisper of stamps' imperial voyages. You slip from the bustling dockside post office, the rhythmic thump of overseas mail sacks and the postman's dreams of imperial voyages fading into the foggy Victorian night, their global aspirations lingering like a salty breeze in your mind. The gas lamps flicker, their feeble light swallowed by the dense mist, where the air smells of wet tar and the faint musk of rotting fish from the Thames. You're trailing Tom again, his red uniform a dim beacon, but now you're drawn to a lively courtyard where rival postmen engage in playful competitions, racing to prove their stamp delivery speed in 1840s London. The fog clings to you, the night's hush lulling you, urging you to witness this spirited rivalry under the starless, misty sky. You follow Tom to a cobbled courtyard behind a post office, where gas lamps cast a golden glow over a makeshift racecourse marked with chalk lines. A dozen postmen, their red coats unbuttoned, jostle and laugh, their satchels stuffed with dummy letters bearing penny blacks and tuppenny blues. A crowd of clerks and onlookers cheers, waving pints and betting pennies on the fastest deliverer. Tom joins the lineup, his eyes glinting with competitive fire, ready to sprint through a mock route of deliveries to wooden boxes scattered across the yard. You settle on a stone bench, its chill grounding you, and feel the courtyard's pulse, a jovial contest where stamps fuel not just duty but pride. A modern aside. Forget your office's lame team races. These postmen are sprinting for stamp glory. No participation trophies needed. You'd probably trip over a box and deliver to the wrong century. Zero racer cred for that stumble. The mainstream fact is that Victorian postmen often held informal competitions to test delivery speed and accuracy, with 1840s post office journals noting these events as morale boosters amid the postal reform's demands. The quirky tidbit? Some postmen wagered rare stamps, like misprinted penny blacks, in these races, treating them as prize money. Think of it as a Victorian arcade claw machine, but with royal stickers. You eye Tom's satchel, wondering if he's betting a smudged tuppenny blue, but it's just bulging with mock mail. Historians still argue whether these competitions improved efficiency or wasted time. Did they sharpen skills, or just distract from the sorting room's chaos you saw? The crowd's cheers offer no answer, just a raucous hum. You watch a whistle blow, and the postmen bolt, their boots pounding as they weave through the course, tossing letters into boxes with practiced flicks. Tom's fast, his cap nearly flying off, but a wiry rival, Alf from the pub horde, edges ahead, his grin fierce. You think back to the dockside's overseas dreams, the pub's stamp talk. These races channel that passion into sport, like Polynesian clans racing for island glory or Ethiopian coffee traders vying for market fame. A light joke. If you raced here, you'd probably mail a letter to your own foot and lose spectacularly. Zero speedster cred for that flop. The crowd roars, a postman tripping but recovering with a laugh, and you notice Tom nail a perfect toss, his stamp gleaming as it lands. The rivalry's friendly but fierce, each man striving to outshine the others, their uniforms, those proud red coats you admired, flashing in the lamplight. A clerk keeps score, scribbling times, and you sense the bond beneath the contest, a brotherhood forged in fog and postage. A second light joke. Bet your company's fun run doesn't involve stamp tossing, unless your HR's got a secret Victorian playbook. The fog swirls at the courtyard's edges, the stars hidden, but you imagine them twinkling, cheering the postman's playful sprint. You lean back, the benches cold seeping into you, and let the race's rhythm, boots thudding, crowd shouting, letters rustling, soothe you, like the sea's sway in that Pacific canoe. You picture postmen across London, their rivalries sparking laughter and skill, stamps the heart of every contest. You feel a drowsy awe. This isn't just a game, it's a celebration, a testament to their craft's joy. The night grows heavier, sleeps pull stronger, but you linger, caught by Tom's fierce dash, the stamp's competitive spark under the gaslight. You rise, brushing dampness from your hands, and follow Tom back into the fog, the rivalry's energy a soft hum in your mind. The courtyard's glow lingers, a playful spark in your thoughts. The mist guides you forward, the stars unseen, and you drift deeper into London's hush, carrying the whisper of postmen's racing games. You drift from the lively courtyard, the postman's racing footsteps and the crowd's raucous cheers fading into the foggy Victorian night, their playful rivalry lingering like a spirited echo in your mind. The gas lamps cast feeble glows on the slick cobblestones, their light smothered by the dense mist, where the air smells of damp soot and the faint tang of spilled cider from a nearby tavern. You're trailing Tom again, his red uniform a dim flicker, but now you're drawn to a quiet corner of a post office, where whispers of lost stamps, mythic treasures of misprints and vanished sheets, haunt the postman's lore in 1840s London. The fog wraps you tighter, the night's hush lulling you, urging you to listen to these tales under the starless, misty sky. You follow Tom into a small, dimly lit room off the main sorting hall, its walls lined with wooden shelves stuffed with ledgers and stray envelopes. A handful of postmen, their coats unbuttoned, gather around a flickering candle, their voices low as they share stories of legendary stamps, penny blacks printed backward, tuppenny blues in rogue colors, or entire sheets misplaced in transit. Tom leans in, recounting a tale of a ghost stamp, a misprinted Victoria said to have vanished from a locked vault, only to reappear in a rural postbox. You settle on a creaky chair, its worn wood grounding you, and feel the room's eerie warmth, a secret circle where stamps become ghostly relics. A modern aside. Forget your urban legends about haunted houses. These lost stamps are the postal equivalent of cursed pirate gold, no flashlight needed. You'd probably lose a mythic stamp in your couch cushions, zero treasure hunter cred for that blunder. The mainstream fact is that stamp errors, like inverted prints or color mistakes, were rare but documented in the 1840s, with surviving examples like the 1840 Mulready envelope misprints fueling early philatelic lore, as noted in Victorian post office records. The quirky tidbit? Some postmen swore lost stamps were stolen by postal spirits, mischievous ghosts who hid them to prank the living. Think of it as a Victorian gremlin with a stamp fetish. You glance at the candle's flame, half expecting a spectral hand, but it just flickers, casting shadows on the ledgers. Historians still argue whether these lost stamp tales were genuine losses or exaggerated myths. Did they reflect real errors, or just postmen's storytelling flair? The room's silence offers no answer, just a hushed intrigue. You watch a grizzled postman, Alf from the pub Horde, spin a yarn about a tuppenny blue sheet rumored to have sunk with a mail ship, only to wash ashore in a sailor's pocket. The group murmurs, half skeptical, half enchanted, and you grin, thinking back to the Polynesian tales of lost star maps or Ethiopian coffee myths. Stamps, like those, carry stories beyond their function, weaving postmen into a mythic web. A light joke. If you chased a ghost stamp, you'd probably find a smudged coupon and call it cursed. Zero myth-buster skills for that flop. The postmen pass a worn penny black, its edges torn, debating if it's one of the haunted ones, their eyes gleaming with quiet thrill. The fog presses against the window, a distant clock chiming midnight, and you notice a young postman sketching a stamp's rumored error. A double-printed queen, on a scrap of paper, maybe to hunt it later. The tales feel alive, binding the group like the pub's stamp talk or the racing game's camaraderie. You saw a shared lore that makes every stamp a potential legend. A second light joke. Bet your stamp collection doesn't come with ghost stories, unless your hobby shop's got a secret Victorian seance. The night feels heavier, the fog a soft shroud, and you imagine the stars hidden above, winking at the postman's whispered myths, their tales a quiet spark in the mist. You lean back, the chair's creak blending with the postman's murmurs, soft whispers, paper rustling, a soothing rhythm, like the sea's sway in that Pacific canoe. You picture postmen across Britain, swapping stories of lost stamps, their obsession fueled by these elusive treasures. You feel a drowsy awe. This isn't just gossip, it's a mythology, a love for stamps that transcends their glue. The night grows still, sleep's pull stronger, but you linger, caught by Tom's rapt attention, the stamp's mythic allure under the candlelight. You rise, brushing imaginary dust from your hands, and follow Tom back into the fog, the lost stamp tales a soft hum in your mind. The candle's glow lingers, a mythic spark in your thoughts. The mist guides you forward, the stars unseen, and you drift deeper into London's hush, carrying the whisper of vanished stamp treasures. You slip from the candlelit post office room, the postman's whispered tales of lost stamps and their mythic allure fading into the foggy Victorian night, their ghostly lore lingering like a faint ink smudge in your mind. The gas lamps cast trembling shadows on the wet cobblestones, their light muffled by the swirling mist, where the air smells of damp coal and the distant tang of brewing tea from a late-night stall. You're trailing Tom again, his red uniform a dim flicker, but now you're drawn to a bustling printer's workshop where artists refine stamp designs, crafting new patterns to fuel the postman's pride in 1840s London. The fog presses closer, the night's hush lulling you, urging you to witness this evolving artistry under the starless, misty sky. You follow Tom into the workshop, its air warm with the scent of fresh ink and molten gum, the rhythmic clank of presses blending with the scratch of quills. Artisans, their aprons stained, hunch over drafting tables, sketching intricate designs for future stamps, Victoria's profile sharper, perhaps, or adorned with laurels. One artist, a wiry man with ink-smeared fingers, refines a tuppenny blue, adding a delicate border, while another tests a new penny black shade, its ink gleaming under a candle's glow. You settle on a wooden stool, its creak grounding you, and feel the room's pulse, a creative hive where stamps evolve to keep postmen and public enchanted. A modern aside. Forget your graphic design software with endless filters. These artists are carving royal vibes by hand. No undo button needed. You'd probably sketch a stick figure Victoria and get fired on the spot. Zero artist cred for that doodle. The mainstream fact is that Victorian stamp designs evolved rapidly after 1840, with printers like Perkins, Bacon and Company introducing new colors and patterns by the mid-1840s, as documented in post office archives and surviving stamp variations. The quirky tidbit? Some artists hid tiny initials in their stamp designs, a secret signature to claim their work, like Easter eggs for eagle-eyed postmen. Think of it as Victorian watermark graffiti. You squint at a test stamp, hunting for a hidden letter, but the candlelight's too dim to tell. Historians still argue whether design changes were driven by aesthetics or security. Did they aim to dazzle, or thwart counterfeiters? The press's clank offers no answer, just a steady hum. You watch the wiry artist adjust his sketch, etching a finer crown on Victoria's head, his focus intense, as if the Queen herself might inspect it. Another artisan mixes ink, testing its hue, and you think back to the pub's stamp talk, the postman's pride in their pristine penny blacks. These new designs fuel that passion, like Polynesian navigators refining stick charts or Ethiopian brewers perfecting coffee blends. A light joke. If you tried designing a stamp, You'd probably draw a wonky throne and call it regal. Zero engraver skills for that flop. The workshop buzzes, candles flickering, and you sense the artist's quiet pride, their work a spark for the postal craze. A young apprentice, his hands shaky, spills a drop of ink, earning a gentle nudge from the artist, and you grin, feeling the room's camaraderie, a shared mission to craft stamps that postmen like Tom will cherish. The finished sheets, stacked neatly, gleam with Victoria's evolving face, ready for sorting rooms and rural routes you've seen. A second light joke: bet your printer's clip art doesn't inspire a nation's mail, unless your office's got a secret Victorian art studio. The fog presses against the windows, the stars hidden, but you imagine them twinkling, approving the artist's evolving craft, their stamps a quiet flame in the night. You lean back, the stool's warmth seeping into you, and let the workshop's rhythm, quills scratching, presses clanking, soft murmurs, soothe you, like the sea's sway in that Pacific canoe. You picture new stamps flooding London, their designs lifting postmen's spirits, binding them to their public's craze. You feel a drowsy awe. This isn't just art, it's a legacy, a visual hymn to the postal mission. The night grows heavier, sleeps pull stronger, but you linger, caught by the artist's steady hand, the stamp's refined promise under the candlelight. You rise, brushing imaginary ink from your hands, and follow Tom back into the fog, the evolving designs a soft hum in your mind. The workshop's glow lingers, an artistic spark in your thoughts. The mist guides you forward, the stars unseeing, and you drift deeper into London's hush, carrying the whisper of refined stamp designs. You drift from the bustling printer's workshop, the scratch of quills and the gleam of newly refined stamp designs fading into the foggy Victorian night, their artistic evolution lingering like a fresh ink blot in your mind. The gas lamps cast wavering shadows on the slick cobblestones, their dim light swallowed by the heavy mist, where the air smells of damp coal and the faint sweetness of spilled treacle from a nearby cart. You're trailing Tom again, his red uniform a faint beacon, but now you're drawn to a quiet street where postboxes stand like sentinels, fostering community bonds around the stamp-filled mail that connects neighbors in 1840s London. The fog wraps you tighter, the night's hush lulling you, urging you to feel these ties under the starless, misty sky. You follow Tom to a row of terraced houses, where a red pillar box gleams under a gas lamp, its slot awaiting letters. Neighbors linger nearby, chatting as they post their mail, stamped with penny blacks and tuppenny blues, sharing news of births, debts, or distant kin. A woman in a shawl hands Tom a letter, her smile warm, while a child clutches a penny, eager to buy a stamp for his own note. You settle on a stone step, its chill grounding you, and feel the street's pulse, a quiet gathering where stamps weave strangers into a network of stories. A modern aside. Forget your neighborhood group chat with endless memes. These postboxes are the original social media, no Wi-Fi needed. You'd probably post a letter in the wrong slot and spark a Victorian DM disaster. Zero community cred for that mix-up. The mainstream fact is that the introduction of postboxes in the 1840s, starting with trials in London and spreading nationwide, made mail accessible, fostering community interaction, as documented in post office records and contemporary accounts of public usage. The quirky tidbit? Some Londoners left good luck charms, like pressed flowers, inside postboxes, believing they'd speed their stamped letters. Think of it as a Victorian emoji for snail mail. You peer at the box, half expecting a daisy, but see only iron and fog. Historians still argue whether postboxes strengthened social ties or just enabled bureaucracy. Did they build community, or merely streamline mail? The lamp's glow offers no answer, just a soft halo. You watch Tom empty the box, his hands careful as he sorts the letters, each stamp a tiny Victoria binding sender to receiver. A man shares a joke about a late letter, the group laughing, and you think back to the pub's stamp talk, the postman's racing games. These postboxes extend that spirit, like Polynesian crews bonding on starlit canoes or Ethiopian coffee feasts uniting villages. A light joke. If you tried joining this chat, you'd probably mail a grocery list and call it poetry. Zero neighborly charm for that blunder. The street hums, voices blending with the fog's hiss, and you sense the community's warmth, a web spun by stamps and shared moments. The fog thickens, a distant bell tolling, and you notice a girl posting a letter, her fingers trembling with hope. Maybe a note to a sailor, like those overseas dreams you traced. Tom nods at her, his uniform proud, and you feel the postbox's power, not just a box but a hearth, where stamps carry dreams and dramas. A second light joke. Bet your mailbox doesn't spark street parties. Unless your cul-de-sac's got a secret Victorian vibe. The night feels heavier, the fog a damp cocoon, and you imagine the stars hidden above, twinkling at the community's quiet strength, their bonds a gentle spark in the mist. You lean back, the steps cold seeping into you, and let the street's rhythm, soft chatter, letters dropping, Tom's footsteps, soothe you, like the sea's sway in that Pacific canoe. You picture postboxes across Britain, each a node in a network of neighbors, stamps knitting them together in trust and talk. You feel a drowsy awe. This isn't just mail, it's a tapestry, a community woven by ink and glue. The night grows still, sleeps pull stronger, but you linger, caught by the neighbors' warm smiles, the stamps connecting promise under the lamplight. You rise, brushing dampness from your hands, and follow Tom deeper into the fog, the community's warmth a soft hum in your mind. The lamp's glow lingers, a social spark in your thoughts. The mist guides you forward, the stars unseen, and you drift deeper into London's hush, carrying the whisper of postbox bonds. You drift from the quiet street, the warm chatter of neighbors around the postbox and the soft clink of stamped letters fading into the foggy Victorian night, their communal warmth lingering like a gentle hearth in your mind. The gas lamps flicker, their frail light drowned by the heavy mist, where the air smells of damp soot and the faint tang of spilled lamp oil from a passing cart. You're trailing Tom again, his red uniform a fading beacon, but now you're drawn to a somber moment where the glory of stamps begins to dim, overshadowed by the rise of telegraphy in late 1840s London, sapping the postman's obsession. The fog thickens, the night's hush lulling you, urging you to witness this slow decline under the starless, misty sky. You follow Tom to a post office near the Thames, its brick facade weathered, the bustle quieter than the sorting room's chaos you saw earlier. Inside, a new machine, a telegraph, all wires and clicks, sits in a corner, drawing curious glances from clerks. Tom, his satchel lighter now, sorts a dwindling stack of stamped letters, his usual pride muted as he eyes the telegraph's operator tapping messages faster than any penny black could travel. You settle on a wooden bench, its surface scarred, and feel the room's shift, the stamps rain fading like a song losing its melody. A modern aside. Forget your instant texts, telegraphy's stealing the stamp spotlight, no emoji needed. You'd probably send a telegraph garbled with typos and spark a city-wide panic. Zero tech skills for that blunder. The mainstream fact is that telegraphy, introduced in Britain in the late 1840s, began to rival traditional mail by offering instant communication, with post office records noting a decline in stamped letter volume by the early 1850s as telegraphs spread. The quirky tidbit? Some postmen believed telegraphs were soulless, claiming stamps carried the sender's spirit, while wires just buzzed. Think of it as Victorian snail mail shade thrown at new tech. You glance at Tom's stack of penny blacks, half expecting them to pulse with soul, but they're just paper, inked and still. Historians still argue whether telegraphy truly diminished stamps or just shifted their role. Did it kill the craze, or make stamps a nostalgic relic? The telegraph's asterisk click offers no answer, just a sharp rhythm. You watch Tom handle a tuppenny blue, his fingers slower, less reverent, as if sensing the stamp's fading glory. A clerk nearby boasts about a telegraph message sent to Manchester in minutes, and Tom frowns, his pride in those rural roots and pub stamp talks you witnessed now tinged with unease. It's like the Polynesian wayfinder's star maps fading under colonial tides, or Ethiopian coffee losing ground to new brews. Stamps, once a revolution, are slipping. A light joke. If you tried telegraphy, you'd probably tap out SOS by accident and summon a navy. Zero operator cred for that chaos. The fog seeps under the door, a distant ship's horn moaning, and you notice a young postman, his cap askew, staring at the telegraph, half curious, half wary. He clutches a letter, its stamp pristine, and you sense the tension, old craft versus new speed, a battle fought in glances and sighs. The room feels quieter, the sorting room's frenzy a memory, and you feel a drowsy ache, not for loss but for change, like the postbox community's warmth now at risk. A second light joke. Bet your email doesn't mourn the fax machine's glory, unless your inbox's got a secret Victorian grudge. The night feels heavier, the fog a damp shroud, and you imagine the stars hidden above, dimming with the stamp's fading spark. You lean back, the bench's creak blending with the telegraph's asterisk click and the rustle of letters, a soothing rhythm, like the sea's sway in that Pacific canoe. You picture postmen across Britain, their stamp obsession softening as wires hum, their craft enduring but quieter. You feel a drowsy awe. This isn't just decline, it's a shift, a moment where one era whispers goodbye. The night grows still, sleeps pull stronger, but you linger, caught by Tom's subdued hands, the stamp's waning promise under the lamplight. You rise, brushing imaginary dust from your hands, and follow Tom back into the fog. The declines wait a soft hum in your mind. The post office's glow lingers, a fading spark in your thoughts. The mist guides you forward, the stars unseen, and you drift deeper into London's hush, carrying the whisper of stamps' dimming glory. You wander from the somber post office, the telegraph's sharp click and the postman's muted pride over fading stamps dissolving into the foggy Victorian night, their declining glory lingering like a wistful sigh in your mind. The gas lamps cast frail shadows on the slick cobblestones, their dim light smothered by the heavy mist, where the air smells of damp soot and the faint tang of wet leather from a passing coach. You're trailing Tom again, his red uniform barely visible, but now you're drawn to a quiet moment of reflection, pondering the enduring legacy of stamps in modern mail, a spark that persists beyond the 1840s craze in London. The fog softens, the night's hush lulling you, urging you to trace this lasting mark under the faint, star-pricked sky. You follow Tom to a small post office, its counter worn but polished, where he sorts a modest stack of letters, their stamps. Still Victoria's face, though newer designs, gleaming under a single lamp. The telegraph's hum is a background drone, but the stamps endure, carrying mail to homes and colonies, a quiet constant amid change. You settle on a wooden stool, its creak grounding you, and gaze at the letters, their stamps a bridge from Tom's era to your own, where colorful postage still seals envelopes, a nod to the penny black's revolution. You feel the legacy's warmth, a thread weaving through time, connecting postmen to today's mail carriers. A modern aside. Forget your email's cold efficiency stamps are the OG emojis, still sticking around with retro charm. You'd probably use a commemorative stamp for junk mail and miss the nostalgia. Zero philatelist cred for that blunder. The mainstream fact is that the adhesive stamp, born in 1840, remains a cornerstone of modern postal systems, with billions printed annually worldwide, as evidenced by ongoing stamp production and philatelic societies celebrating their cultural role into the 21st century. The quirky tidbit? Some modern post offices host stamp parties, where collectors swap designs like Victorian postmen hoarded errors, keeping the craze alive. Think of it as a geeky tea party with sticky squares. You imagine a party with stamp-shaped cookies, but the post office is quiet, just Tom and his letters. Historians still argue whether stamps' legacy is practical or sentimental. Do they endure for function, or for the romance of mail? The lamp's glow offers no answer, just a steady light. You watch Tom handle a stamp, its edges crisp, his fingers still careful despite the telegraph's rise you witnessed. You think back to the pub's stamp talk, the rural route's muddy treks, the public's craze in the square. Each moment a spark in a legacy that lives in every mailbox, like Polynesian star maps reborn in modern voyages or Ethiopian coffee's global reach. A light joke. If you tried honoring this legacy, you'd probably stick a stamp on your forehead and call it tribute. Zero historian skills for that look. The fog outside thins, a faint star twinkling, and you sense the stamp's quiet power, their ability to outlast empires and wires. A young clerk, sorting nearby, hums a tune, maybe one from the pub's fiddler, and you notice a new stamp design, a ship, not Victoria, hinting at the evolving art you saw in the workshop. The post office feels timeless, a place where stamps, like Tom's red uniform, carry pride across decades. A second light joke. Bet your Amazon package doesn't rock a stamp's charm, unless your courier's got a secret Victorian flair. The night feels softer, the fog a gentle veil, and you imagine the stars above, faint but enduring, like stamps, guiding mail through time's vast sea. You lean back, the stool's warmth seeping into you, and let the post office's rhythm, paper rustling, Tom's soft sorting, the lamp's hum, soothe you, like the sea's sway in that Pacific canoe. You picture stamps on letters today, from birthday cards to bills, each one a nod to Tom's era, a legacy of connection. You feel a drowsy awe. This isn't just mail, it's a tradition, a spark that still binds us in ink and glue. The night grows still, sleeps pull stronger, but you linger, caught by Tom's steady hands, the stamp's timeless promise under the lamplight. You rise, brushing imaginary dust from your hands, and follow Tom back into the fog, the legacy's warmth a soft hum in your mind. The post office's glow lingers, an enduring spark in your thoughts. The mist guides you forward, the stars faint, and you drift deeper into London's hush, carrying the whisper of stamps' lasting mark. You slip from the quiet post office, the soft rustle of Tom's stamped letters and the enduring glow of their legacy fading into the foggy Victorian night, their timeless spark lingering like a warm afterthought in your mind. The gas lamps are nearly spent, their frail light drowned by the heavy mist, where the air smells of damp coal and the distant sweetness of blooming jasmine, a hint of dawn's approach. You're trailing Tom one last time, his red uniform a fading shadow, but now you're drawn to a silent street, where the tale of Victorian postmen and their stamp obsession settles into a gentle lull, the fog and stars fading as dawn whispers sleep in 1840s London. The night's hush wraps you, the mist soothing you, urging you to rest under the barely visible, starlit sky. You settle on a low stone wall, its surface cool but worn smooth, overlooking a deserted square where a lone postbox stands, its red paint dulled by fog. Tom pauses, emptying his final letters, their penny blacks and tuppenny blues catching the last flicker of a dying lamp. The street is still, save for a stray cat's soft patter and the fog's gentle sigh, and you feel the story's weight, stamps, postmen, a revolution in ink, now a tender cradle rocking you toward dreams. You lean back, the walls chill grounding you, and let the night's calm sink deep, the stamps' journey complete, their legacy safe in your thoughts. A modern aside. Forget your white noise app's fake rain, this foggy dawn's the ultimate sleep aid, no subscription needed. You'd probably doze off mid-delivery and snore through the history. Zero night owl cred for that nap. The mainstream fact is that the Victorian stamp system, starting with the penny black in 1840, transformed global communication, with its principles of prepaid postage still shaping postal services today, as evidenced by ongoing stamp use and philatelic studies into the 21st century. The quirky tidbit? Some Londoners still kept stamp diaries into the 1850s, pasting daily stamps to mark time, like a Victorian bullet journal with royal flair. You imagine a diary filled with Victorias, but the postbox before you is empty, just iron and fog. Historians still argue whether stamps' impact was more cultural or logistical. Did they change how we connect, or just how we send? The dawn's faint glow offers no answer, just a quiet promise. You think back to Tom's muddy rural roots, the pub's stamp hoards, the public's craze in the square. Each a thread in a tapestry now woven into you, like Polynesian star maps guiding modern voyages or Ethiopian coffee's lasting brew. The fog feels softer, the stars fading, and you picture stamps enduring, on letters you've mailed, each one a nod to Tom's pride, like Apollo's spa lived in wellness retreats. A light joke. If you tried keeping a stamp diary, you'd probably paste a sticker and call it Deep Zero Journaler Skills for that scribble. The square's stillness, the fog's embrace, pulls you deeper into drowsiness, the night's end a gentle tide. You shift, the wall's coolness soothing, and notice Tom's silhouette, his satchel empty, his steps slow as he heads home. The postbox stands alone, a sentinel of stories, its stamps carried to countless lives, binding communities you saw at its side. A second light joke. Bet your inbox doesn't lull you like this postbox, unless your spam's got a secret Victorian charm. The dawn's gray light creeps in, soft and slow, and you surrender, the fog holding you, the last stars whispering goodnight. And so, you rest here, cradled by the foggy square, the tale of Victorian postmen and their stamps now a tender hum, easing you into dreams as soft as the dawn's first light. The cobblestones fade, the postbox a quiet shadow, its stamped letters sailing into memory, where stories sleep under a gentle sky. You don't need to chase the mail anymore, its journey is yours, woven into your heart, a calm that carries you beyond the mist. The fog lifts slowly, the world stills, and the dawn holds you, its glow a whisper of peace. Let the stars vanish, their light a final gift, guiding you to a place of boundless rest. Sleep now, deeply, and let London's hush cradle you, its mist a promise that all is well, all is serene.